It's, you know, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything
The real
like
first
it.
lady.
I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world.
The taste of cum. Oh my God,
it's
he's
about
showing the
$300
fucking
million.
ballroom.
It's set
Oh
to
my
do
God.
many, many things, including many Ukrainians were last week. We think it's ridiculous and would like to have it end.
Why do you think you want peace, though? Why do you still believe that?
I think
Trump's
they
having
want
a
peace.
NATO
I think
meeting
they
at the
both
White
want
House,
peace
and
at this
apparently he's
point.
talking about how
You know,
Ukraine is
it's
going to get
almost 4
carved
years.
up
You're
between
going
him and
into 4
Putin.
years. And if I were president, but yeah, it's time.
Mr. President, on the shutdown, do you plan to meet with Democrats before you head to Asia? And if not, why not meet with the Democrats?
Well, I think it's a shame that it's shut down because we have the greatest economy, as you were saying before. We have the greatest economy in the world right now, by far, the United States. We have almost 18, now it was 17, now it's $18 trillion being poured into our country, and it's no time for shutdowns. I don't think it's affecting what we're doing, but it's too bad for a lot of people. We have a lot of good people that aren't working right now that should be, and it's because the Democrats want to try and renegotiate a deal that they had negotiated. They want $1.5 trillion given to illegal immigrants who came into the country, and it's going to hurt the health care of citizens of our country that have been paying into it, that have been working hard for it, that really deserve it. So we're never going to do that. It's not going to happen. And I will tell you, there are a lot of good Democrats that really want to make a deal. And I think all we need is 5 Democrats because we have a great support on the Republican side. So I think we need 5 Democrats, and there are a lot of them that want to make a deal. So I think at some point, common sense will prevail. Yeah, go ahead, you can finish up.
On the drug boat strike, the Eastern Pacific,
Yeah.
can you explain to us what that was about, how it was conducted?
Yeah, sure. Well, they had one today in the Pacific. And the way I look at it every time I look, because it is violent, and it is it's amazing that the weaponry, that everyone, you know, they have these boats that go 45, 50 miles an hour in the water. And when you look at the accuracy and the power, look, we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. And you see a little bit of it there. Everyone center. And the only way you can't feel bad about it is you realize that you won't feel badly about it, is you realize that every time you see that happen, you're saving 25,000 American lives. Every one of those boats that gets knocked out is saving 25,000 American lives, not to mention the torn up families all over the country. And whenever I see that, I say to myself, I just saved 25,000 lives. I will say that there are very few boats traveling on the water right now. Actually, that includes fishing boats. That includes
It's
any
so
other
psychotic
but there are very few
that
boats
he's just
traveling
like
on the water. So now
justifying randomly murdering fishermen by being like, you know, it looks bad, it sounds bad, but in my mind I just made up that they're actually going to sell fentanyl to 25,000 Americans.
Yes, we do. We have legal authority, right? We're allowed to do that. And if we do by land, we may go back to Congress.
He's a straight up Nazi,
This is
dude.
a national security problem. They killed 300,000 people last year. These drugs coming in. 300,000 Americans last year, and that gives you legal authority. We have a national security. Really, I will say this: when you look at the people we're dealing with, and we know them, we know the people coming in, we know the boats, we know everything else. We're allowed to do it. It's in international waters. If we don't do it, we're going to lose hundreds of thousands of people. Now, they'll be coming in by land a little bit more because they're not coming in by boat anymore. There are no boats in the water. There are no more boats. We know the boat almost immediately. You know, it's pretty unusual when you see somebody with a fishing rod and 5 engines on the back of the boat. You know, you don't need that to go fishing. Wait. And we will hit them very hard when they come in by land.
Felt it was time for Russia sanctions, canceled meeting with Putin.
They haven't experienced that yet, but now we're totally prepared to do that. We'll probably go back to Congress and explain exactly what we're doing when we come to the land. We don't have to do that, but I think, Marco, I'd like to do that. You may respond to that if you want.
Yeah, well, I mean, the question is, bottom line, these are drug boats. If people want to stop seeing drug boats blow up, stop sending drugs to the United States.
Does it matter if it's in the United States?
Well, these are all in international waters. The boat.
Can you do a strike in the United States, or if we're the
Well, that's a different matter. Now you're talking about a law enforcement matter. In this particular case, there are people traveling on international waters headed towards the United States with hostilities in mind, which includes flooding our country with dangerous, deadly drugs. And they're going to be stopped. And that's what's happening. And in the case last week, you saw there was a submarine. It was a submarine. It was a submersible. That's a drug boat all the way through. We know what these boats are. The president just said it. We track them from the very beginning. We know who's on them, who they are, where they're coming from, what they have on them. If you're running drug boats, you're in grave danger.
And drug usage is way down, and drug usage coming from the sea, they call it ocean drugs, a little term that they use, the ocean drugs, is very close to non-existent right now. I wouldn't want to be in one of those boats heading away. They're driving happily to destroy the lives of people, and that's the end of them. So,
It's pretty wild that, obviously this government lies about its own citizens at the domestic level.
as you can imagine.
And in the absence of any sort of consideration that this is a lie, why would anybody care about random fishermen that they're murdering overseas? You know what I mean? Like a government that can so easily lie about their left flank, saying that they're all socialist terrorist murderers that need to be put down. They're always going to lie about murdering random fishermen overseas and just be like, yeah, they're all bringing in cocaine by the metric ton. It's horrifying. And I don't know, bro, it's getting so hard not just to tune out all of this. I mean, dude, we have to pay attention to everything that's going on, and we have to try to advocate to put a stop to it. But because there is a faucet of evil that's coming from this administration, it's like impossible to keep up with every new thing that they're doing.
And that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time.
Is this a desperate political move, or are they just... It's both.
Dying by the thousands, worst since World War II, and we really should stop it.
And to your other question,
please.
Sorry, to your other question, this has been consistent from this president when we first met again after your re-election in Mar-a-Lago.
This man called him daddy, by the way, in a text message. Just so you understand.
This is close to your heart, and this is your vision. That's why this war needs to end. When it comes to tomahawks or whatever system, it's up to
the man who's talking right now
texted
Donald Trump that he was daddy.
NATO doesn't take a position, but I can assure you this: when the president called me in July,
how far Europe has fallen, bro? How far? It is crazy.
The Europeans. That was an important moment, and that is now taking place. And the ambassador, myself, we're working hard at this. Already a couple of $1 billion of weaponry into Ukraine from the US, paid for by allies. So I'm not going to comment on the tomahawks, but when it comes to the US and all the support for Ukraine, it is there and it is close to the president's heart, and I know this.
I will say this, and Mark can say it better than anybody. The European nations and Canada
we're gonna get
have
to that
really
in a
pulled
second.
together, and it's beyond even that. I mean, it's really beyond that.
I was with the Australians, the New Zealanders, Japan. They all.
If you want to really add them up, we could really add them up, but. NATO, basically, European and Canada, and a lot of other nations, they've really band together. They are not happy about what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. They're not happy at all.
Chatters.
Mr. President.
Jeff?
Sir, just changing this topic slightly, I see you've got the...
You think I was lying, right? Because, that's crazy, right? Like, that's an insane thing, right? Totally makes sense that you would think that I'm making this up. I'm not. They fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easy to stop them, he continued. Rutte raised eyebrows when he interjected. Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get them to stop. Asked if Trump views his NATO allies like his children, the president responded, no, Rutte likes me. I think he likes me. If he doesn't, I'll let you know. I'll come back and I'll hit him hard, okay? He did it very affectionately. Daddy, you're my daddy. Rutte later defended his use of the word and continued to pile praise on Trump, describing him as a good friend. He also said his language is a matter of taste.
It's, there's a relative, nobody's actually seen anything
the real
like
first
it.
lady.
I think it'll be one of the great ballrooms anywhere in the world.
Yeah, the taste of oh my God,
it's
he's
about
showing the fucking
$300 million.
ballroom.
It's set to do many, many things, including meetings of foreign leaders, including the honoring of foreign leaders. You can see this. This is a plan. If it's got tables so that you honor a foreign leader, we have a proper space. Right now, we have a space that with tables holds about 79 people. And this is a proper kind of a thing. Now, what the White House was doing, as you know, is they were putting tents out on the lawn. This is an interior of the ballroom. I think there'll be nothing like it. And it's being paid for 100% by me and some friends of mine, donors to it. The government's paying absolutely nothing. We're also working with the military on it because they want to make sure everything's perfect. And the military is very much involved in this. They want to make sure everything is absolutely beautiful. You can see the kind of interiors that we're talking about. That's an interior of the ballroom. And it's the highest level. And you see it goes beautifully with the White House. I mean, the mix is beautiful. So over the years, many presidents have made changes. This obviously would be the biggest change, but this was something they've wanted for at least 150 years. Many of you have gone to the events where they had, as an example, President Xi, or they had, you know, a leader of one of the countries, including the king and the queen from your favorite country.
Absolutely.
Frankly. But where they'd be honored, and they'd be in a tent out on the lawn, and it would rain, and it was a disaster. Brian's shaking his head. You know what I'm talking about. So, I thought I'd bring this out because this is going to be probably the finest ballroom ever built, and we're doing it no cost to the country. It's being put. The money's being put in by me and donors, very great patriots actually, and the spirit on the building of it is amazing. We are using little sections of footings and various other things, but that's sort of irrelevant. In order to do it properly, we had to take down the existing structure. The way it was shown, it looked like we were touching the White House. We don't touch the White House. That's a bridge, a glass bridge, going from the White House to the ballroom.
I can't
then
believe
you get
this
into
is
the
what's
lobby
happening.
of the ballroom, and then you go
Donald
into...
Trump switched off from saying we gotta let Ukraine strike deep into Russian territory like they've never struck before. Here is my ballroom. It's the beautiful ballroom, a ballroom from the standpoint of ball and room, unlike any other.
That some of your critics feel it should have gone for a
I've
review.
shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been.
I'm just asking
So
about
third-rate
your-
reporters didn't look, but anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They've been all over the place, and you know we're very proud of it. It's gotten great reviews. It's gotten really great reviews. So I think we've been more transparent than anybody's ever been.
Some critics
Mr. President, that the sanctions that you're announcing today will push Putin to the...
Well, I don't know that they will. I think that they'll certainly have an impact. They're massive sanctions. It's sanctions on oil. The two biggest oil companies, among the biggest in the world, but they're Russian. They do a lot of oil. And hopefully it'll push... hopefully he'll become reasonable, and hopefully Zelensky will be reasonable too. You know, it takes two to tango, as they say. And we're going to find out. They hate each other. These two people hate each other. You know that better than anybody. And it makes it more difficult than it should be. This should be easier to do. But the level of hatred between Zelensky and Putin is very substantial.
Could I add one thing? What the president is doing today with these sanctions is putting more pressure, of course, on both parts, in this case on Russia. It's all about changing the calculus, making sure that Putin understands that the president's vision this weekend of having a ceasefire, stop where they are, as you literally said, that this has to be step one now. And for him to really accept that vision and to come to the table. And then you have to put pressure, and this is exactly what he did today.
Along with Europe. I mean, Europe, look, they've actually become friends of mine. I think
Yes.
all of them.
Yeah.
We have a very close relationship, and they want to see it end too. They really want to see it end. But I can say they're totally committed. If this went on for 10 more years, Europe is behind them. They just can't let that happen. You can't let what's been going on. Now, it should have never happened. It would have never happened if I were president. But it did happen. I inherited. This was Biden, a man who was, without question, you take a look at the new walkway, the presidential walk of fame, we call it.
Europe is cucked. Millions
Biden
must
is
cry
the
in the
worst
cuck
president
chair.
we've ever had, if it was even a president. The people that surrounded that desk made those
Irredeemable.
decisions. But this should have never happened. It wouldn't have happened. But it did happen. I inherited it. We're going to get it ended, hopefully soon. Yes, please.
You had a Truth Social post earlier this afternoon talking about a Wall Street Journal report as a fake story. story.
Yeah,
It
fake.
sort of
Wall Street Journal is fake.
So this-
Less fake on financial than it is on gossip.
Can you just confirm that my understanding of what's happening is accurate? As I understand it, that story framed it like we had just lifted the U.S. a restriction on intelligence.
No, it said that I gave Ukraine permission to shoot missiles deep into Russia. I didn't do that. Second of all, they're not using our missiles. They're using, I think, European missiles or from someplace, but they're not using ours. And what they do, I don't control that. But I do control our missiles. They're not shooting our missiles. And it was a fake story. Wall Street Journal does a lot of fake stories.
The president of Colombia in a recent interview said that if you won't, he thinks that people should get rid of you.
We're talking about now Columbia, the country, not the university.
Yes.
Go ahead. He said what?
He said that if you won't change, then perhaps you need to be gotten rid of. Do you view that as a threat?
Well, he's a thug and bad guy. He's a guy that is making a lot of drugs. We've just, as of today, stopped all payments going to Colombia, the country Colombia. Also, the school Colombia. No, we settled. We made a settlement with him. But no, he's a thug, and he's a bad guy, and he's hurt his country very badly. They're doing very poorly, Colombia. They make cocaine. They have cocaine factories. They grow all sorts of crap that's drugs, bad drugs coming into the United States, goes generally through
Cocaine
Mexico.
factories.
And he better watch it or we'll take very serious action against him and his country. His country is, what he has led his country into is a death trap. Please.
Has the Secretary General presented his Ukraine peace plan to you? Are you prepared to be chairman of the Board of Peace?
Oh, there is no Secretary General peace plan. But I'm here, no, I really want to correct it because I saw some of that in the media. Of course, many people are thinking how to bring this terrible war to an end and supporting the president in doing that. Why I'm here is to dialogue again with the
I think
president.
like Mark Rutte and all these other dipshits are going to start talking like Trump too. They're going to be like, well, you know, everyone knows at this point that the media is doing fake news. It's very inappropriate. A big fake news they're
Which
doing.
is stop where you are. Stop the fighting.
This is about NATO. We're a very proud member of NATO. We have a great relationship with the countries of NATO. I think made much better by our visit a few months ago when they agreed to 5% instead of 2% of GDP. That was a big concession. I think that was a concession that 2 years ago nobody would have said, even a year ago.
Even 9 months ago, before you were elected.
Yeah, they would have said that's not possible.
Absolutely.
And the
Are
difference
you
is they're paying
bot?
5% as opposed to not paying 2%. They want
You have to tell me if you're a bot.
with the exception of
You keep
Spain,
posting this.
and
Zoran
you have to go to
Mamdani's
Spain.
Zoran
Spain is not
Mondami's
a team
$40
player.
billion
So,
DOE
other
audit
than-
threat
other
is
than
not small
Spain,
talk. It's
everybody's
central weapon in a
100%.
smear campaign. Yet somehow
you could
this is
solve
falling
the
on
Spain
deaf
problem
ears.
very easily, I
God,
think.
you really have this following to pick at your teeth and reinstate the
Brian,
obvious.
go ahead.
Heart,
Yeah,
heart,
go
heart.
ahead, and then we'll take Brian. Go ahead.
The soybean farmers, are they going to be getting support from you?
Zoran Mondami.
Yeah, well, they do.
Wait, what?
So what's happened? You could say with that. You could say with beef. With,
Okay,
with
this is
all of
a
it.
this is a bot.
The beef, the ranchers.
Zoran
who said-
Mondami is threatening to audit $40 billion in DOE
done a
contracts
great
is
job, have
huge.
lost their
But I
shirts for many,
digress.
many years.
Continue to be
They've
distracted by some
really
foolish
been
YouTube video.
decimated.
That's the
And I
point.
helped them a lot. I put
Everyone's
tariffs
talking
on
noise.
things coming
But
in
Zoran
to the country,
Mondami pointing at
including
$40 billion in DOE
And that gave
contracts,
them a chance
that's
to
what's making
finally
them lose it. This
have a
slander
decent
campaign
index.
partially revolves around that.
We are gonna be talking
Now
to
let's
them.
look at
They're great
who's
people,
behind
but
it.
They've been hurt for 25, 30
Zoran
years. They've been
Mondami's threat to
losing.
audit $40 billion in
Because
DOE
other countries
contracts
have
for New York
taken
City
advantage
schools
of them.
is one of the pivotal
And by
points in this
putting
entire
tariffs
slander
on,
campaign.
they've been able to
Everything
make
else
a few
they're
dollars.
saying
They've
falls
been able to
apart
have
when
it.
you
They
and
also
who's
want to
behind
keep the
it.
beef prices low. So I'll be talking with the ranchers, and I'll be speaking with a lot of different people, including Scott and Howard, and we'll do something because prices are way down in our country. Energy is way down. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline very soon. I see that it's $2.50 in a lot of places. $2.50. We were heading to $5, $6, and $7. If Biden didn't go back to my policy toward the end, you would have seen. But he didn't go back to the full policy, and he missed the most important thing. So we were up to, we were way up. I think you're going to see $2 gasoline. We could even break that number. That's a big difference. The only cost that's really up is beef, and the fake news only wants to talk about beef. And what I did is I made it possible for those people to survive. They're incredible people, but they were being decimated by other countries. and I didn't want that to happen. So prices are way down, groceries are down, everything's down, energy's way down. Even interest rates with a bad chairman of the Fed. He's terrible. He's a fool. But
Yeah,
even
everything's
interest
down.
rates are down. So our country has
I
never
said
done
so.
better.
Don't
We're gonna
believe your
take in,
lying
I
eyes.
think $21 trillion this year. No country has ever taken in more than 3, and we're going to take in $21 trillion of investments because of the tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be a mess. We would be a national security problem, and we've done a job. So I'm very happy about that. We're going to do something very quickly and easily on beef to get it down. The ranchers understand that. They're so happy for what I've done. I saved them. I don't think you'd have any beef in this country if I didn't do that. So we're very proud of that. Yeah, Brian?
Yes, sir. Yesterday in Los Angeles, immigration officials were attacked by some protesters.
Yeah,
and
sure.
sent to arrest an illegal alien. Gavin Newsom, other Democrats have used very aggressive language in terms of how to address ICE agents out in the field. Is there any responsibility that we can place on Gavin Newsom and other elected officials for using such aggressive language?
Well, Gavin has to be careful. Remember that when I first came in, they had a terrible riot in Los Angeles. They had the fires, which shouldn't have happened. They didn't have the water for the fires. They should have had the water coming in from the Pacific Northwest. They didn't have the waters. They didn't have water in the hydrants or the sprinklers. So they had the fires, and then they had the riot. And if we didn't go and take care of that riot, you would have lost Los Angeles. You would have canceled the Olympics, which is because of me in Los Angeles. And the commissioner, the head of the police, said, if the president didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. We did not have the capability of taking care of it. And he said it very strongly. And we did a great job. And within a week, it was all done. Within one day, it was done. But within a week, it was all done. And then they go back to their normal practice of weakness, of not taking care of criminals, meaning taking care of putting them in jails where they should be. Washington, D.C., and you all are the best people for that, because Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities. It was one of the most dangerous cities in the country. Now Washington, D.C., believe it or not, I'm embarrassed to say it in front of you, but Washington, D.C. went from one of the worst, most dangerous cities to, you can walk down this.
How is Otani doing so well if L.A. burned down? That's right, Chatter. Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Very safe city, one of the safest, and very proud of that. Memphis, by the way, is coming along fantastically. We're in Memphis right now. We had the FBI in Chicago. We're doing things. We haven't served Chicago yet. When we do, Chicago will be very quickly a very, very safe city. But if you look at what's happening in Memphis, it's great. But you got to look at Washington. People are coming up to me. People that work in the White House are saying, "Thank you, sir," and I immediately know what they're thanking me about. It's thanking. They can walk to work. They would never walk to work a year ago. They can walk into work and they feel safe and secure, and it's beautiful. And I'll tell you what, it's really an honor to add that great ballroom to the structures in Washington. It's going to be one of the great ballrooms of the world, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to be very proud of.
Yeah, it's been on fire. Los Angeles has been on fire.
As it relates to your meeting that's coming up with the President-in-Chief, what do you hope comes out of that meeting? What deliverables?
I think we'll make a deal. I think we're going to make a deal on the rare earth is the least of it.
I'm
Look,
on
the
fire
tariffs
right
are
now.
much more powerful than the rare earth. The rare earth
I'm
is
literally on
disturbing.
fire currently. Like right now, at this very moment, I'm on fire.
Also,
Everyone is.
Rare earth. We've got it. Everybody's. We'll make a deal on, I think,
Raw
everything.
earth.
I think we're going to make a deal on soybeans and the farmers. I think we're going to make a deal on maybe even nuclear. President Putin in his call mentioned to me about nuclear, where we do a de-escalation, and I'm fine with that. I think it's good. I think it's a very appropriate thing. We have the most nuclear weapons. Russia's second. China is actually third by a long way, but they'll be even within 4 or 5 years. Too many. And we are talking about de-escalation. That's already being talked about. And I think we'll probably add China into the mix.
Mr. President, you asked President Xi to stop purchasing all that Russian oil that's funding this war against Ukraine.
Well, I think I'll be talking to him about it. I think it's a little bit of a different talk. India, as you know, has told me they are stop. It's a process. You can't just stop it. But by the end of the year, they'll be down to almost nothing. That's a big thing. That was almost 40% of the oil. India, they've been great. Spoke to Prime Minister Modi yesterday. They've been absolutely great. China's a little bit different. You know, they're a little bit different relationship they have with Russia. It was never good, but because of Biden and Obama, they got forced together. They should never have been forced together, but they're a little bit forced. But they're by nature, they're not. They can't be friendly. They can't be friendly. By nature, they can, I hope they are friendly, frankly, but they can't be. You should not have forced Russia and China together. And Biden did that, and Obama did that. They forced them together because of energy, because of oil, and so they are closer than they would normally be. I think I'll probably be talking about it. What I'll really be talking to him about is how do we end the war with Russia and Ukraine, whether it's through oil or energy or anything else. And I think he's going to be very receptive. He would now like to. I'm not sure that he did at the beginning. He would now like to see that war end.
Do you think she plays an important role, Mr. President? Do you think she plays an important role in terms of inserting himself and convincing Putin, who he speaks to regularly, to stop the war?
Yeah, I do. I think he can have a big influence on Putin. I think he can have a big influence on a lot of people. Look, he's a respected man. He's a very strong leader of a very big country. Yeah, I think he can have a big influence. And we will certainly be talking about Russia, Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Liam Koster with CRI. My question is actually for the Secretary General.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary, I don't know if you've seen this, but polling out of Ukraine shows a massive collapse in Ukrainian support for the war. A Gallup poll had it just 23%, less than a quarter. Zelensky came out today praising President Trump's proposal for freezing the front lines of battle as part of a ceasefire. He said that's a good compromise. So people view your coming here as, you're lobbying the U.S. government to continue its involvement in the war. You're obviously lobbying for more NATO weapons to be sent to Ukraine, but Ukrainians themselves don't want to fight the war. So how do you justify that morally?
Well, I'm lobbying only for one thing, and that is to make sure that we end this war. And I don't have to lobby the president because we totally agree on this. And this is what he has been doing from day one. Everything he could do to break the deadlock with Putin.
I don't think this is what you guys agreed on day one.
And getting this
yes,
war done.
we loved it when he said, Zelensky, please apologize. Why do you not say thank you? That was a beautiful moment of strength and resilience and courage. Diplomacy thrived that day.
About 2 billion moving into Ukraine.
Hasn't wind down. Why do you think that'll wind it down now?
What do you mean?
You think more weapons will wind down the war?
No, I mean there's more to be done. So what you need is
I guess it's
pretty
crazy that like the entire world's leaders, like on the Western side, on the Western world, their global leaders are at the mercy of like a narcissistic, thin-skinned man baby. So they just have to literally constantly glaze him. They're like, yes, we will do the weapons contracts. We will do everything you want, Mr. President, sir.
Selling any weapons.
I feel like there's an alternative out there. Like you could have a little bit of fuck. You're the EU. You're the second largest consumption market on the fucking planet. What the hell is going on? Like, you have a lot of power united. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me that these guys are just like so aggressively throating Donald Trump.
Making sure that the supplies in Ukraine, so Europeans and Canadians, and for example, these are interceptors for the Patriot systems, crucial to protect the cities. Today, again, a Russian attack has killed children, at least seriously wounded children in kindergarten in Ukraine. So we need to make sure that the air defense systems are in place, and we need the US systems to do that, and the Europeans are paying for that. And this is exactly the type of actions we needed, and the President is doing that, and trying everything to get this war to an end, starting with the ceasefire.
I always felt that way. I always felt he wanted to. When I was in my first term, I was I was very close to him, relatively speaking. It was harder because of the Russia hoax. But I would talk to President Putin about Ukraine, and it was the apple of his eye. I'd say it was the apple of his eye, but it would have never happened. He knew the consequences were too great. When we had a rigged election and all of a sudden I wasn't there, he said, wow, I think he looked at Afghanistan, how horribly that was handled, so stupidly. And I think that really gave him a little additional, incentive. I always felt he wanted the whole thing, not a piece of it. But I think now he's willing to negotiate a little bit further, and I think he's willing to make a deal. We'll see. We'll see. We don't want him. We don't want him to have the whole thing.
Literally how? Politico, according to sources familiar with Grand Plan or opposition file, there's more damaging information that's yet to be revealed. Oh, dude, he's fucking so toast. Oh, he is so toasted. Oh my God. I think this is going to be a big fuck you. Oh my God. I feel like it's going to be a big fuck you to like anyone that comes out with a fuck Israel statement. They're using Palantir on him. I don't think that's real, by the way. The main state press is not like a real account. It has 455 followers. And there is no evidence for this, that they used Palantir and similar AI-driven technology to go through and identify his... like, a lot of people ate this up. A lot of people ate this shit up. Is going to be a Hitler tattoo on his dick? Dude, stop. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be worse. Which is crazy to say. I can't believe I'm saying this. What the fuck is American politics? Oh my God. No, it's going to be something dick related, but it's going to be something like sexual assault or something, or war crimes or something. They found the Croatian tattooer and he's going to say Plattner forced him to do the tattoo at gunpoint. No, dude, it's not a 1919 tattoo. You're so stupid. Stop. You do have brain worms. What the fuck? Dude, he had a totem cough on his chest. What do you mean, 1919? Ah! He already maxed out on the Nazi tattoo shit. He called cops cowards. In some of the opposition research that's yet to be unearthed until now, Plattner went online and called the Hancock County Sheriff's Office a den of overweight pansies and flatly said cops are opportunistic cowards in 2020. I mean, yeah, if that's the opposition, then it's great. If that's the oppo dump, then it's great, because that is literally every veteran's position, unless they're already cops. And even some cops, it's one source probably from the Mills campaign, so it could be exaggerated. He actually does have a 1919 tattoo. Look at his new tattoo. No, the 1919 tattoo is nothing. It's not a thing. Please stop. It's from like an Appalachian Trail hiking club or some shit. Stop. That's not... Why would someone have a literal totem cough on their chest, but then also do a sneaky 1919, which is not like a known white supremacist symbol at all. He has the third most prominent white supremacist symbol on his chest. He would at least have like the fucking double bolts or something, not fucking 1919. He'd just have a swastika or like a Sonnenrad or something. Like, he wouldn't have the duality of this chat. Don't know what Totenkopf is, but thinks the 1990 are Nazi tattoos or Nazi symbolism. Yeah, I don't want to fucking hear from this chat that they didn't know that the Totenkopf was a fucking prominent Nazi symbol yesterday. I was here for that. Okay? It was unbelievable then. But now, all of a sudden, a lot of you are former ADL extremism advocacy, extremism glossary researchers, it seems. All of a sudden. Stop. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, I don't know what the Totenkopf is. The fuck? And then all of a sudden today you're like, well, 1919 actually is a very sinister dog whistle. One that not many people know about. Dude, it's like, can the 40% of us new chirp at you? No, because that is the 1919 one is like, it's not, I don't think that's suspicious. That's